with what's been proposed. But I guess the important question is will it help things and will it get us through that pile of pending applications and make things a bit faster for everybody? So we'll come back to Gilda on that in just a moment. And we'll say hi to everybody. I just want to make sure we're going live on YouTube, if you can bear with me on that. Managed to successfully share something on Zoom, so I'm absolutely riding high at the moment without too much of a difficulty. Although I can't say the same now for YouTube, which is stalling a little bit. Let's start with introductions anyway and come straight to the Queen of the Visas. Hi, Gilda. How are you this evening?
Hello, I'm fine, Carl.
Good to see you. High at the moment. Oh, well, let me just mute that over at YouTube so you're not talking to two of me, which could be quite challenging, Gilda.
Yes, one is enough. Thank
one
you.
is quite enough. Thank you very much. You're so kind. Right, this what some I think must in the legal profession must think is a little bit of a derisory offer to lawyers helping IMA process the backlog, 750 per case. Maybe your view on that first of all.
Well, I think it's a little bit insultive for lawyers.
I imagine you might.
Yeah, to to get that offer, but it seems that many lawyers applied, and I hope that they do a good job to help IMA to recover this backlog.
Well, that's the main thing, isn't it? So bad news for the legal profession, you might say, but good news potentially for those waiting to have their case processed. Do you think it might help?
Yes, I think the idea is to help to catch up on the process that are delayed, and then it's going to be if they can turn the page, it's going to be very good for us because our clients, many of our clients that are here and part of this community, they are still waiting for the family reunification, for appointments if their visas came without the appointments. And this doesn't happen because IMA is not opening slots because they are very busy with the processes that they still have in hands.
Right. Okay. So we'll wait and see, but perhaps from the consumer, the client's point of view, perhaps an improvement. So I mean, clearly the government is trying to do something about this, so we must give them some credit for that. And generally speaking, how are things going in the visa front line as you're experiencing it at the moment?
Everything is going well, more or less the same.
Right. Okay. Good to know. All right. Thank you for being here tonight. Any questions about visas this evening? Of course, put them to Gilda Pereira of EI Imigrant, Assessoria Imigrant, and any questions, we'll put them to Gilda this evening. Colleague of Gilda's, just down the corridor at Casa Portuguesa, Carolina Muralha. How are you this evening?
Hello, Carl. Hello, everyone. I'm very good, and you?
Excellent. Just saw your lovely message there. So a boa noite from you in the chat as well as on the screen tonight. Yes, we're well. We as I said, we just had a lovely webinar with Tomar, which I'm guessing as a city is on the radar for people you're helping move to Portugal.
It is. It's becoming a more desired destination.
Yes.
I believe the expat has some influence on that choice.
Yeah, I was calling it the Jerry Lawler premium, actually, because I think Jerry's had a one-man effect on that with the competition we used to have, and maybe we will again, which is the best part of Portugal to live in. And Tamar obviously features well when it comes to central Portugal. Any other areas, Carolina, or anything else you want to report from your part of the industry?
Some areas. Well, as usual, the central of Portugal is a region that I encourage to explore. Considering that is a different lifestyle and you definitely need a car, but it's always a good choice for people who want a more quiet lifestyle.
Yep, sounds good. Quiet lifestyle. That sounds wonderful, doesn't it? And the temperatures are cooling a little bit now in central Portugal. I think they said they had a very nice day there. Obviously, we're glad to see that the fires are in the rearview mirror now, and it's been wet in central Portugal, but very humid, I understand, and high temperatures. And we're moving into a beautiful autumn, which I'm sure will look very beautiful in Tamar and other parts of central Portugal. Gilda, coming to my rescue here. Why? I don't think I struggled with accessoria migratoria, did I? Or do I struggle with that every single time I say it? Gilda, back to you. Thanks, Carolina, for the time being.
Well, it sounds a little bit strange, but I'm going to change now to migration advisory services because I think that it's for our customers, it's going to be much easier.
The Lord works in a mysterious way. I can't. I've got to say, I'm very happy about this change. It's only taken what?
Everything was thinking of you, you know.
Thank you so
I
much.
said, okay, I need to help Carl. I
Yes.
need to find something
I'll sleep at
easier
night
for
now.
him to say, and I came up with this idea.
It will be from here on in EI Migration Advisory Services.
Yes.
All right.
Sounds good.
That's EMAS, isn't it, as an acronym as well? EMAS sounds. I think that sounds very impressive. It sounds quite governmental. EMAS.
It sounds like now I'm going to change. Now it reminds me of
I shouldn't have said that. Okay, all right. Back to the drawing board. But thank you for your help on this matter, and thanks, Carolina. Any questions you've got about moving to Portugal from the point of view of being helped to find a rental or somewhere to buy? Carolina here, I'm very able to answer such questions. Let's stay in the world of law with Daniel. What's going on with you, Daniel? Have those politicians agreed on a budget yet, as we were discussing last week?
Hello, good evening. Well, they haven't, and Marcelo is always Marcelo, the president, is always trying to tell the politicians to behave and that they should agree upon having a budget. But until now, we have no conclusions. So they are still negotiating. They are still putting up a fight with each other, and no conclusions yet. But I think at the end we'll have a budget, and the government will carry on operating, and we will not have any elections for the time being. I think it's good just to have a bit of stability. It's going to be good.
Yeah, when Gilda's in there in the chamber, she'll get them to talk some sense, I think, one of these days. Staying with you and the world of law, anything else to report from your industry, Daniel?
Well, it was a situation that you were describing about AIMA trying to have lawyers, and the lawyers in Portugal. You have lawyers doing public service. They are paid by the state for people that don't have the means to pay their own lawyers. The fees that they were getting from the Portuguese state have not changed in the last 20 years. And in the last 20 years, we had a lot of inflation. Not a lot of inflation, but well, with time piles in. Therefore, they were trying to fight to have increased wages from the government. And well, they stopped going into or stopped offering going into court dates and whatnot. So they were putting up a fight to the government. Although I did this type of service in the beginning of my career, I'm not doing any anymore. One thing is it was just the lack of time and availability that I nowadays have, and the other thing is indeed they're not well paid. And then the Bar Association does this protocol that you did mention in the beginning, and accepts this feeble payment of €7.5. So they lost all traction. They were trying to get an increase in the payments that they would be having from the state. And on the other side, they accept a protocol of receiving just €7.5 for a name, a process that they will look into the documents. It doesn't make any sense. It's just discredited the whole Bar Association in thus the lawyers. So I'm not a happy camper with my Bar Association at the moment.
No, I can imagine.
I'm not usually a happy camper with the Bar Association, but this time I really got disgruntled.
Okay.
Yeah.
I can imagine some people got the email and said, 750, that's not bad, thinking it was 750. And then when they read the small print, yikes, absolutely not. Okay.
The description that they do is just you need to look into the documents, but it's more than that, and you may have travel to SEF if something goes wrong. So it doesn't compensate, and I think it's insulting, but it is what it is. The politicians have done it. The Bar Association has agreed with it, and it discredited the whole legal profession. So not a happy camper, to be honest.
Oh, okay. And hopefully we can just assume from that action, although it was very ham-fisted for you as a professional and your fellow professionals, that it will help the front line, as it were, and process things a little bit quicker if some of those people do go for it.
That's the upside, but then they should frame it in another way. It's a pro bono. Let's have a pro bono, and lawyers will give their time and effort and knowledge for free to assist people that are in need, and this is foreigners that want to legalize themselves in Portugal. €7.5, it's just insulting.
Yes, I can understand that. Better to be nothing than something insulting. Very good. Okay, Daniel, thanks for that. Anything else from the world of law?
Well, not that I can remember for the time being.
All right. Any questions you have for Daniel, please pop them into the chat. Quite quiet tonight over here with the Expats Portugal members in the Zoom chat. So if you have got any questions, remember, that's what we're here for. It's great to get an update from the professionals. It's also great to ask them questions. And we've got a couple coming in on YouTube. But before we do that, let's go to Nuno to find out what's going on from Nuno Mendes from Insurance. What's happening in the world of insurance there, Nuno?
Good evening, everyone. First, let me say that I totally agree with Carolina Muralha of Casa Portuguesa that start giving a look to the central part of Portugal, because it has a lot of good secrets for you, so you'll be surprised for sure. If you're not a lover of the sea, yeah, you will find very good spots in central Portugal.
You know what, Nuno? The ladies from Tomar said it is 45 minutes to Nazaré from Tomar. That's not too far to go, is it, really?
I thought that it takes longer, but it's only my impression. So they must be correct. Carolina, she knows.
Yeah, but
they are correct or not.
I think, you know, for an American driver, the distance and the time from Tomar to Nazaré to the Silver Coast would seem very small. And a small price to pay, really. So I think we can assume that, and maybe they were just going on Portuguese driving times.
Yeah, and not far from Coimbra or even Castelo Branco, so they could find hospitals there. So could be a choice for you.
Thank you for the shout out.
Sorry to interrupt.
Go ahead.
It's almost an hour. 57 minutes. I checked because I was with Nuno. I was thinking, I believe it's more. So yeah, almost an hour.
Okay, I think thank you for that correction, and still not too bad. I think you'll agree to find yourself with those incredible waves at Nazaré, and equally you could come down a bit further to Peniche, to San Martino, and go up as well to Aveiro and be at the seaside very quickly from Tomar. So thank you for that, and that lovely support for Central Portugal there, Nuno. Anything from the world of insurance?
No, the world of insurance has people like to be. Also, I like to be, which is predictable, so nothing much to shake. So yeah, pretty stable.
Wonderful, good news.
Sure.
And I understand you've got a surprise for us later on. You've done all sorts of wonderful things for us at the cultural moment at the end of the session. You've sung, I think. We've had surprises from you before. I think you got Daniel singing on one occasion. I think you've got something for us tonight. Is that right? A little later on that people should stick around for?
I may have, if we have the time.
Okay, all right. A little teaser there. I don't know what it is, but I'm looking forward to it already. Okay. Fiona is the first to ask a question. Thanks for that. Keep those questions coming in. But last but not least, certainly tonight, we've got Peter with us from the Portugal company. How are you, Peter?
Hey, Carl. I'm good. Thank you. Nice to be here again. So boa noite to everyone. And yeah, hey, what can I add to all those nice remarks of Central Portugal?
Right. You can take us deeper in, I think, can't you? You can take us deeper into Central.
Yeah. Well, we are here already for 10 years in really in the middle of central of Portugal. We still love it, and it's really still a very authentic. It's still very nature at its best. I think to add to Nuno and to Carolina, it's about 1 hour drive from everywhere you want to go to Spain. Well, you don't want to go to Spain, of course, but you know what I mean. To the coast.
If you had to, right?
It's completely in the middle of everything. So
yes.
Lovely, and yeah, we are very glad we are here. And sometimes, you know, as we are looking into new projects, but I can tell you our next new project will be also in the center of Portugal. It's still, for us, one of the most authentic regions of Portugal, with lovely people, quality of life. And if we want to go to a big city, it's just an hour and a half to Porto or to Lisbon or to Mar, to Coimbra. It's only 30 minutes. So it has it all.
Fantastic. So Portugal company, Peter and Elise, they're helping people in a buyer's agent capacity. If you've got any questions for them for any, and not just Central, any part of Portugal, of course, I think they can help you with that. So let's get to the questions then in that case. In fact, after we have got a question about a particular part of Portugal, which I'll put to you both, Carolina and Peter, in just a moment. But first to Friona, who was first to ask a question. My CEF account holding by lawyer. Okay, this is when I think you've appointed somebody to be your fiscal representative, Friona. I don't have access to this CEF account. Do I need access to this account for applying for permanent residency or citizenship, or I don't need that under that account anymore? I'm under golden visa for the 5 years. I think, Daniel, you were quick to answer that one there. Could you give us some help and give Friona some help on that?
Yes, for sure. So basically, the golden visa is submitted via web portal, and lawyers have access to that portal. We have everything centralized in just one email. It's goldenvisa@racepelicano.com. But then once we are inserting the data of our clients, we insert the email of the client as well. So the client will be notified that the login was created, and he has, at least from the understanding that I have, the capability of consulting the process. He cannot submit documents, he cannot submit the process, but at least he can see and check what the lawyer has done. And this is something that we do by default. We ask the client, what is the email that you want to have connected with the golden visa? We insert the email of the client in terms of transparency, so the client knows when the process was submitted, what type of documents were submitted, and how we operate. It's just a question of transparency. I do know that other law firms don't operate in this fashion, but this is a possibility that the web portal does allow, and we do it for all our clients. In terms of the question itself of the permanent residency card, well, for the time being, no available bookings are in the web portal for the permanent residency card. In some specific cases, the portal is allowing the automatic renewal. In this automatic renewal, concedes a residency permit for 2 years. And the advice that we are having, or that we are providing for our clients, is it's better to renew the card and have a card for 2 years, because IMA is MS at the moment, because the golden visa has a different renewal scheme. It's the card is only valid for 2 years, so every 2 years you need a new card. And basically, it's better to have a card now than just to book an appointment, if they ever come up, hopefully they will, and have the permanent residency card. It's a patch, it's a temporary solution, but it allows us, at least on our side, to submit the nationality application, because to submit the nationality application, at the time that the nationality is being submitted, a valid residency permit needs to exist. So if the card is already expired, well, it's a catch-22. You're not able to request the nationality, and you don't have a residency card. So the easy solution for the time being is renew the card, even if not a permanent residency card, just a normal one with the validity of 2 years, because that will provide access to the nationality. Regarding the second part of the question, and this is the nationality itself, the nationality is not submitted by the Golden Visa web portal. It's a different route. It's within the IRN, or the registry in Portugal, and lawyers are able to submit the nationality application via a specific portal just for lawyers. Unfortunately, this portal does not allow the client to consult what type of documents were submitted, but after a few months of the initial submission, it generates a code that we provide to our clients, and the clients can consult what is the state of the nationality process. It's a 7 stages procedure, so the client can consult what is the current stage of the nationality process. It's a slow process at the moment. It's around 2.5 years to obtain the Portuguese nationality, but although really slowly, surely the client will obtain his or her nationality down the line. So that's basically the state of the art connected with golden visas and nationality at the current moment.
Superb answer to Friona's question there. And have things, and it sounds like things are moving in the right direction. Things are improving gradually, as you say, and slowly. Has anything improved when you are alerted to the fact that you have become a Portuguese citizen? Because I remember we talked about this, didn't we, long ago, about how, you know, in the United States you're invited to a ceremony and you swear allegiance and all sorts of things happen. I believe in Portugal you just got an email or a letter like, here's your passport, and that was it.
No, it's not even the passports. It's the birth certificate. They just notify you of here's the birth certificate.
There you go.
And nowadays they somewhat provide some directions. But the first time when I was an intern and I dealt with a nationality case, it was a friend of mine that he was living here for quite a long time. I received the birth certificates and I asked my older colleagues that were providing the internship at the time, and I said, what's this? What do I do with this? Well, and I was a lawyer or an intern lawyer at the time, and I was confused, to be honest. And they said, no, now you need to do the citizen's card, and after that you need to do the passport. So I do understand that some foreigners that do become Portuguese, they start with some confusion. What's this? What I need to do with this? And that's a good way of being Portuguese. It's just a little bit of confusion and getting adapted to it. So
the shape of things to come. Fantastic answer. Cheers, Daniel, on that. Well, it's not really an update, is it? Things are as they were, and it's a learning curve for everybody. That's wonderful. Thanks, Tom, for your earlier greeting from a breezy and cloudy Ohio, where there's a comfortable 23 degrees centigrade. Not looking forward to the remnants of Hurricane Elaine. Yeah, any of our community over in the United States with who may be struggling with the effects of Hurricane Elaine, our love and best of luck to you with that approaching hurricane there, and hopefully it's left you untouched, which should reach us by tomorrow night in Ohio, says Tom there. And we've got another question from Tom in just a moment. Thanks for your questions over on YouTube. We'll come to those. I was reminded while you were talking, Daniel, and this, you might want to comment on this as well, Gilda. I don't like to dwell too much on scams and scaremongering, but there's one that you might want to address this evening. And I was sent this on WhatsApp, and apparently there are people who are going from door to door. And I want your professional advice on this and how to deal with it and whether how people should respond. People going from door to door, pretending to be employees of the Ministry of Internal Affairs. They have ministry documents and letterheads, and they claim they need to check that everyone has a valid ID for the next census. So they'll come into your house, and obviously, if you're a foreigner here, you're going to let them in, or you're going to, you're going to be thinking, well, I need to impress these people, and I need to do what they say. Have you heard of this, Daniel? And what should people do if somebody comes pretending to be that or purporting to be that person?
Well, just it's simple. Please hand over the forms. I'll have a look at it, and then I'll reply on a later stage. And you just don't need to show anything at that time, and don't feel pressured into showing anything at that time. If they say, oh, we're going to call the police, for sure, please call the police. We'll have a cup of coffee with them, and we can discuss the situation with the police here. But don't feel pressured or threatened, because that's not the modus operandi of the census. The census nowadays, it's done electronically, and it's quite simple to do it online. So it's a few years back, yes, you had people knocking on your door and you would have a questionnaire, but that's not the case anymore. And if someone comes knocking on your door, feel free to send them away. And if they say, well, we are the police, can we get in? And you are totally free to say, no, you have a warrant. I need to see a warrant. And if they cannot produce any warrants, they cannot enter your house, and they cannot disturb you. You just close the door, and if you do feel your security threatened in any way or sense, call the police, describe the situation, tell them that you're frightened, and they will come. For minor situations, usually, let's say a bumper-to-bumper traffic situation, the police can take a while to go there. But if you describe the situation as a serious threat to your safety, they will come fast, and they will show up in your door relatively fast.
With this, we know, don't we? They take a very dim view of threats to safety and security.
Yes.
So that's good to know. And thank you for that really reassuring answer there. So you don't have to let people in, whoever they pretend to be. And the clue is pressure, isn't it? If there is pressure, it's very unlikely they are who they are, who they say they are. And you can say, okay, give me the papers and I'll respond in my own time. Thank you very much. And I think your advice is very good.
Well, you do have scammers that have produced fake warrants. I've seen a news report two weeks ago, I think. This was an entrepreneur from the north of Portugal, that two guys dressed as policemen with fake warrants and fake badges, they came knocking on the door and said, well, we need to investigate. There's they created a story, and they were able to check the house, and they stole about 100K in money that the person had in the property. But they looked the part. They looked like policemen. They behaved like policemen. They had fake warrants. They had fake badges. So it's a bit more difficult to detect those situations.
Yes.
But if that is the case, and if you do suspect that those are fake policemen, call the other policemen,
Yes.
and then they'll talk between them. And if it's a fake policemen that are trying to rob you, well, if you call the normal policemen,
They will disappear. They will disappear soon, won't they?
So don't be afraid of standing up and say, well, I'm not 100% sure who you are. I'm foreigner. I'll just call the normal police, the PSP or the GNR, and then we can talk. Everyone can talk at the same time. And if the guys that are there, they just thought, oh no, that's not an issue, and they just go off, then you know that they're not the real deal.
Very good. Yeah, and I'm really not into scaremongering, but I think from a foreigner's point of view, it's good to know. It's good to have heard your answer there on this particular issue, because if the ministry, if somebody pretending to be a ministry official turns up, you would the first thing you think is, well, I need to behave myself and do what they ask. But I'm really appreciative of your answers there. Gilles, did you want to add anything to that?
Yes, I want to say that in the last few weeks, our company was a victim of this kind of scams, but in such an elaborated way that I'm starting to be afraid.
Oh, right, okay.
I'm just going to give you an example. We asked a company to register our brand for the European Union. And they said, okay, we are going to do it, and we are going to pay the fees on your behalf. And then when we send the invoice for our fees, you will pay the fees for that registered. And somehow someone got access to this information. And in 2 days, we got a letter saying that, okay, for you to have your brand registered, you need to pay, it was nearly 1,000 euros. And we were like, yeah, but they said that they were going to pay and they were going to invoice. And then we sent the letter to this company and they said, no, that's a scam. Don't pay it. Everything is fake.
Right. Okay. So the takeaway here is to do what Daniel said. I was going to say to you, Gilles, I know a very good lawyer as well.
But the thing is, even for us, it's getting more and more elaborated. You need to pay attention to everything.
And pause it. That's really good advice from Daniel, isn't it? Is to pause the process. So rather than feel pressured and to get flustered, you say, okay, I just need time to think about this. I'm not going to do this. I need to think about it. I need to take a moment. I need to talk to somebody else. And that sounds like great advice.
Yes, and the other day we also got an email from a colleague of ours to the finance department saying, I just changed my IBAN, so I want to receive my salary here. So our financial person sent the salary to that new IBAN, and then the girl said, 1 week after, I didn't receive my salary.
Oh, okay. All right.
Yes.
All of this has to be double checked. All right. Slow the process.
Yeah, but now every time the financial department receives an email asking for a payment, she has to double check it.
Yes. Yeah. It's also
On this note, wire fraud is becoming way more real in Portugal, and people getting in the middle of these communications, it's something that is becoming a concern. So what we are doing nowadays is asking clients to call our law firm to verify the account numbers, our account numbers, or if they are doing property deals, account numbers of where the money is landing, because I don't know how they do it, but they can get in the middle of communications,
Yes.
hijack, steal the email thread, and do what Gilda was describing, or either with work contracts or even larger stuff. So be aware, wire transfer was not something common in Portugal, but it's becoming way more common. There's one thing that at least is reassuring nowadays, is that once you're doing a transfer, if it's a Portuguese account to another Portuguese account, the name of the recipient will now pop up in the screen. So it's easier to know who are you transferring the money to. But still, it's a double check, because it's this has become a recent trend, and it's something that is possible to be doing it via a computer. You're just sitting down and you're doing this on well, you can be on the other side of the world. We never know.
Okay, so important to be vigilant, extra vigilant.
Right.
What
Yes.
has been discussed tonight. Thunderduck, pleased to see you with a hi Gilda over on YouTube. 100K in the house, that's crazy. Yeah, I guess if you are going to keep 100K in the house, you don't tell anybody about that. And Thunderduck says, pause, good advice. Don't be pressured, relax, be Portuguese about it. And yeah, to be truly Portuguese about it is to say, okay, calma, tranquilo. We won't be rushed on this. Let's just take a time out and deal with this. So sorry for that diversion tonight with that, but I think it's an important issue, particularly with that particular instance. And thank you for your brilliant answers, Daniel and Gilda. So yeah, don't be pressured and just take a time out and put a pause on things and don't be rushed. Excellent. Right. Okay. Let's go to Tom. Sorry, we've made you wait a long time for this. And you were talking about an area that's popping up on your radar is Rio do Muro in the Sintra municipality. I've not heard of that. It's 30 minutes by train to central Lisbon, and it looks like it's east of the area that gets the microclimates. Crikey, Tom's really done his research here, but I would love some insight, Carolina. Do you know about Rio do Muro?
Rio do Muro, yes. I'm like 5 minutes away.
Oh, okay. You definitely know about it. Okay. What would you say to Tom?
No, I would say no. It's not a great area.
Right, but you could rent him somewhere by the same.
Okay, so I'm in Cacém. Rio do Muro is like this next stop.
Okay.
And Linha de Sintra, everybody, Linha de Sintra is a suburb. We go here, it's like a dorm, you know, you don't have many services around. It's what it is. So I know you're seeing Rio do Muro because the prices are a little bit lower than the central of Lisbon, but no.
Okay.
Other options I can, if you want, you can send me an email. I can help you find a place, and we can discuss other areas according to your budget. But I don't think this would be the area for you, just because you don't have many services around, and it's just you go home, you go to work, and basically it's
somewhere to lay your head in the evening. Yeah, we get the gist. We get the gist. Well done on your research, Tom, but it's a no there. Very honest answer from Carolina, as you would expect from Casa Portuguesa, whose name will not be changing. Peder made the point that if you change your name, Gilda, we won't learn Portuguese. It's very easy for him to say that in the comfort of his own home, but Casa Portuguesa will be staying, because I think your PortugueseHome.com doesn't sound very good or exciting, does it? Okay, let's go to Jay Goldman's question. We would love to start the process of a D7 and we meet all the criteria, except that we may be unable to meet the requirements of being in the country all but 8 months of the first 24 months of the visa. If we get an initial D7 and we fail to stay in Portugal for the required time, and so the follow-up option of the 3-year visa is declined, is there an option of just reapplying for another initial 2-year D7 and try again? That's an interesting question, Jay. Gilda, what would you say about that?
Well, first I asked Jay if already start the process with us, and he said not yet. So Jay, you are welcome to work with A.
But EMAS, as we now know them. Right.
What I have to tell you is the following. In 10 years, I've been doing migration. I never saw such a thing that they took away the residency permit because you didn't comply with the minimum staying, and then you had to start a new process. what does happen is that when the time for the renewal arrives after 2 years and you have to renew, and if they check you didn't comply with the minimum staying in Portugal, you need to give a justification. Okay, and this, in my opinion, has to be done by a lawyer, and you need to explain why you were away from Portugal for more than those months, and the justifications that they accept are based on family issues, health issues, and professional issues.
Right. And so you don't want that strategy, do you? You don't want to be going into it thinking that you'll be explaining yourself as to why you weren't in the country. That's not the spirit of the D7, is it?
Yes, that's not the spirit of the D7, but sometimes it happens.
Okay.
And sometimes we do have to
Yes.
explain.
Yeah, no, I totally understand that. And these things do happen, of course, and those will be mitigating circumstances. What might Jay look at as an alternative then, given that they already know they're not going to be here for that time? What the golden visa would be one approach, wouldn't it? Are there any other D visas that would allow you not to be in the country for as long as that?
No, because all the D visas, the D means residency.
Okay.
So all the D visas mean that means that you need to live in the country, and for that, those are the minimum months that you can be absent from Portugal. Okay, so there isn't any other D visa that it's going to change that. So the alternative here should be the golden visa.
Okay, thank you for that. Does D stand for domicilio then, perhaps, or was that a terrible guess?
No, I think it's just the code.
Oh, okay, all right. Never mind, Carl. Back to the Portuguese language drawing board. Other than voting rights, this is for you, I think, Daniel. Other than voting rights, what is the difference between having the permanent residency and citizenship? Yeah, this is a good classic question, isn't it? In particular, on the permanent Portuguese residency, am I able to move to another EU country and live there, or would this require citizenship? I think we need this clarified, please, Daniel.
Well, I think it's way better to have the Portuguese nationality because, well, you don't need to deal with AMA anymore, and it's way easier to travel to other countries, not to travel, but to live into other countries. But swapping the residency permit, the permanent residency permit for another one in another country, I haven't dealt with that for quite a long time. So for that portion, I'll pass the ball to Gilda because she might have some contribution to put on top of the table. How does that process, Gilda, to swap the permanent one for another one in the EU? Is that possible?
Yes, it is. It is possible.
And
although it's more bureaucratic one.
Yeah.
I think if you can if you have the option to go for the citizenship, it's always going to be better for you. Okay. It will open you lots of doors.
It's for someone that has an EU passport, they just need to arrive, say hello, go to the municipality, and that's about it. And right. This is in any other country in the EU. Some of them may request, I think, insurance, like health insurance, but that's about it. It's a simple process. If you have a card, then some bureaucracies of that country will need to be surpassed. So just learn Portuguese. I know it's not easy, but it's the only thing that someone that has lived here for 5 years needs to do to obtain the Portuguese nationality. They don't need to know the Portuguese history. They don't need to know how to sing the hymn. It's easy. Well, not easy. It's learning Portuguese, but it's the only thing that they need to do.
Yes. And if you had your way, Daniel, would you add some extra things?
I think that I would eventually increase the time that you need to be a resident to obtain the Portuguese citizenship. It was 6 years a few years ago, and I think that the 6 years is a bit more balanced. And Portuguese, for sure, it's a criteria. Well, the Portuguese people don't know their own history. Does it make the sense to have history questions for someone that is foreign to be Portuguese? I don't think that's the route. Probably just a bit more time of residency permit here would be interesting.
That's very interesting. Yeah, we might have that as our cultural question. What would you?
Yes, actually, Daniel, we were talking about this today at the office. What could be fun to add to this?
Can you tell us towards the end, Gilda? Because we'll ask everybody. We'll get
What was
everybody.
the ideas then? Let us know.
We'll come
Okay,
back to that. We'll come
some
back to that.
some people went to some cultural questions about
Yes.
Portugal.
Yeah.
It makes sense. I gave the example of the Angola. To have the Angolan nationality, you must know how to sing how do you say the hino?
National anthem.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, fair enough.
But as Daniel said, some Portuguese don't know how to sing our own, so it might be complicated. But the truth is that many countries request cultural questions and historical questions.
Yeah.
And for us, it's very simple. It's just 5 years and then A2 Portuguese test. I think it's one of the simplest countries to
I think you're right.
To have the nationality.
Right. Yes, and we will return to that all of the Dream Team panel later on to ask them what they think should be added to the citizen test or application a little bit later on, because suddenly we've got loads of questions. This is wonderful. I think we've asked your question, Alex, there, and there was another one from Fiona, a supplementary. As I understand, the permanent residency, I need to schedule an appointment with IMA, or can a lawyer apply online for permanent residency? I think you've dealt with that behind the scenes there. From Alex to Gilda, we're doing an important work for the US Department of State. I don't think that just those 3 words, an important work for the US Department of State, qualify. But would that be an excuse, as you've described it there, Alex, to work 6 months instead of 4 per year during the first 2 years of residency? What do you think, Gilda?
Yes, yes. I had a similar case in the past, and
it does work.
Yeah, and it did work.
All right, fair enough. There you go, Alex. And Jay, we would love to start the process of the D7, and we meet all the criteria. We've done that one, haven't we? And so a call from you, Jay, and I think you've got the answer that you needed there tonight. So a call to EMAS tomorrow would be great. Thank you, Gilda and Daniel. Citizenship versus permanent residency. I think we've dealt with that to everybody's satisfaction. Hi, Gilda from Akash. Do you believe? That's a very personal one there about. I think that's a bit of paperwork in the office. So perhaps you can address that behind the scenes there, Gilda. Debbie says, I take Portuguese language courses at Coimbra University, and the professores do indeed teach us Portuguese culture and history. So it's part of the language course, which I think is a good thing. About the safety, thank you very much for that, for Fiona. May I use this below when I start a video recording? My goodness. Okay. Daniel Reyes is all over that. Do you want to say more about that? What is that? Is that like when telemarketers sign you into a contract, they say we're recording now?
Well, I just I went online to search what was Article 79 of the Portuguese Constitution, because I don't know it all by heart, and I did the translation. It's not the correct article. And for instance, you're not allowed to film public servants if you are indoors, let's say in CEF or AIMA nowadays. You're not allowed to film them, or if you go to Social Security or to tax authorities. So in some specific situations, you're not authorized to film. But if someone is breaking into your house and you are in your own house, and if you start recording, I would say that you are in the right. That's something that you're able to do. If you are recording outside and you are recording the general landscape, you are allowed to do so, but on the other side, you're not allowed to harass someone just to follow that person forever if he is in the street, putting a camera into his face. So there's nuances to what you are allowed to film and you're not allowed to. But if someone is at your door and you're starting to feel your security threatened, usually a good way to diffuse the situation is to start filming and just say politely, well, I'll film this interaction because I don't know who you are and I'm a foreigner. And people usually won't take it wrong.
Okay, that's lovely to know. Thank you very much for that, Daniel. Okay, let's go to you, Nunu, because you had some interesting advice about never to access free or public Wi-Fi when you're dealing with these secure codes and passwords and things like that? Do you want to say more, Nuno?
Yes. So the first the first reason, or the first kind of claims that really scared the insurance industry is due to severe weather. And the second one, by close, is cyber.
Right.
And we are used that we need to have access all the time, preferably free, not using our data, the Dutch that we have. So this is the big door that hackers use to access to our mobile phones or laptops. Actually, I have a close friend, and this is what I was texting to reply to Jay. I have a close friend that he just stopped for a couple of hours at Dubai's airport, and because it's end of the month, he wants to do the payments, and he just connect the mobile phone, did the payments, and he was hacked.
Really?
So yeah, yes. So never used. Well,
So
if you need, okay, but avoid
preferably
as you want.
to do these things at home in a secure environment. And we take your points that have been mentioned here, other people, you know, HTTPS and so on, and never ever, says Jay, you know, but I think to err on the side of the caution that Nunu's given us tonight is probably the best thing to do. Thanks, Nunu, for that intervention there. And apologies here to Penny and Claude. I did indeed miss your question earlier on. I asked earlier on about the need to keep 1 year's living expenses in the bank when applying for the D7. This is for you, Gilda, obviously. How long does it need to be maintained in the bank? I have read conflicting information.
So the ideal is to have this money in your bank account when you go to SEF, because you need to show the bank statements on your SEF appointment.
Okay, and
but this is the ideal situation. Also, if you can show that you had that money when you came to Portugal, and then you used for your own expenses, like rental agreement, furniture, things like that, it's also okay, but it looks better for the process. And as you know, we like to work in a conservative way.
yes.
I always advise our clients to keep the money there until they go to the SEF appointment.
Yes,
and
belt
show the
and
bank
braces.
statement.
We call that in the UK belt and braces, and I'm sure there's an equivalent Portuguese phrase as well for being on the conservative side and taking every possible precaution. Right, Penny and Claude, I hope I've put that straight now. Let's go over to YouTube. We do prioritize here over on the Zoom for Expats Portugal members, so you know what to do. And if you sign up tonight, let us know, and we'll give you a big shout out this evening. Let's go to Hamad over on YouTube. Hi, everyone. Can we have 2 resident permits of EU countries at the same time? I.e., if we do a business activity in Portugal and an office job in another Schengen country, are there any restrictions on EU law? Does that happen for people, Gilda?
It shouldn't happen because, because to keep a residency permit, you always need to comply with the rules of the minimum staying.
Right.
And to comply with one country, you are not going to comply with the
time
other.
machine, you can't do that, can you? Okay.
And then there is another problem, which is the tax residency.
Right. Okay.
Where are you going to be tax residents if you have residency permits in 2 countries?
There you go, Hamad. Keep it
Be
simple.
careful with that.
Yeah, keep it simple. Good evening to you, Squire, over there on YouTube. Good to see you. Any news about new nationality law of counting of time from submission of... here we go. It's the old manifest interés question. Has anyone got a certificate of residence for the time counted from IMA yet and submitted the application? Thanks. Is that back to you, Daniel, for that one?
Well, we made an appointment with IMA to have a certificate of accounting of time of a golden visa client of ours. And he will eventually be able, if our calculations are correct, he will be able to request his nationality in 2025, because he was almost a year waiting for his process to be granted. The booking is around mid-October, and usually that certificate takes around roughly a month to a month and a half to be issued. So I would say that mid-November, we will be able to clear that out. The interpretation that I have of the law is that they clearly state date of submission. And the interpretation that I have is that the date of submission is that once you press submit and the process goes on the direction of EMA, well, this is when the process was submitted. There's some other people that have the interpretation that this can be at the time of the biometric data collection, but the biometric data collection is not the submission of the process. It's just the collection of biometric data and basically handing over the same documents that were initially provided. And for the manifestação de interesse, you submit the documents, then you go into the biometric data appointment, and then the card is issued. And this law was created to compensate people that were waiting for quite a long time for their processes to be approved. Then it wouldn't make any sense to be the date of the biometric data appointment, because that wouldn't compensate anything. For golden visa clients, it would make them lose a year to a year and a half. For manifestação de interesse, they would not gain anything. So I think that it doesn't make any sense to put the biometric data as the correct moment, but this is the interpretation that we have. We need to see EMA's interpretation, and this is with the certificate of accounting of time. So we're waiting for the initial results, or the first results of a booking that we requested a few months ago, and it's going to occur this mid-October, give or take. So in a few months, we'll have some clear-cut answers on this one. I have my interpretation. I'm firm on that interpretation, but some other people have been stating, oh, it can be the biometric data details. I'm not convinced of that, to be honest.
No, Daniel, let me add something. I totally agree with you. And I think that 2 or 3 weeks ago, I saw a statement from IMA clarifying that it's from the data of the submission.
Right.
Interesting. Was that publicized? Because that would be interesting to have.
It was on LinkedIn, on the
okay.
IMA's portal.
Okay.
But as you know, we don't have any proof of that yet, because there wasn't any certificate issued based on that. But I think that they clarified that is the correct interpretation.
Great. Okay, a double dream team answer for you, Hamad, there. I'm sure that helps. Hello. Well, yeah, in a way it would help, but a clarification at least. Kay, Renee, thank you both, Daniel and Gilda there. Hello, everyone. Any news on how much the salary, cost of living will go up in 2025? Thank you. Any guesses on that, Gilda?
We don't even know what is going to happen with our budget. We know nothing.
Let alone next year's minimum wage. Okay, so it's a bit early.
Yes.
It is only September still. We ask those sort of questions in November, December, don't we? I think so. Tune in again nearer that time. Sorry, we can't be more helpful with that, Kay Renee. Nature's Ambience Tree Houses. That sounds like a great company. Question is, why do they require a criminal record from your home country, but still require you to take a biometric test after? I'm a bit confused. Well, the criminal record's for the past, isn't it, Gilda? And the biometrics are for the future.
Exactly.
Yep. So there you go. Nature's Ambience. I need to make sure you're an upright and trustworthy citizen entering, and then have your fingerprints and your pupils and everything else for future reference here as a citizen in the country or as a resident in the country. Jay Santos, hope all is well with everyone. I am in the early stages of getting a mortgage approval in Portugal as a non-resident Canadian Portuguese citizen. Can I open a bank account and buy remotely? Well, you can buy remotely. Can you help with this person, Jay Santos, with opening a bank account, Gilda?
Actually, I can help you with everything.
There you go. How about that? I thought you might say that. Very
I
good.
can help you.
Came to the right place tonight, Jay Santos. Okay.
I feel like I'm inspired today to sell.
I'm feeling it. I am feeling it. Very good. So there you go.
No, actually, I can help you with the opening of the bank account. I have now, our company has now a partnership with Caixa Geral de Depósitos in Toronto, and we can help you with the mortgage also.
Result. How about that?
And of course, with the house hunting.
Okay, very good. Help you with everything, as you said there, Gilda, Queen of the Visas. Right, we're getting towards the end now of the session. And Penny and Claude, just a quickie. We have ample monthly passive income, social security and pension, but we also need 1 year in the bank as well. That's how it works with the D7, right, Gilda? There you go, a nice simple one there.
Yes.
And thanks for that, Debbie, about voting in the US election. A quickie for Nunu. Can you have a dash cam on your... We might have to go to Daniel for this as well. But can you have a dash cam on your dashboard? Yes or no? Which of you
Nunu,
gentlemen?
go ahead.
Yeah, Nunu. He's giving it to you.
Sorry. Yeah, I understood that it was endorsed to Daniel. So if you have a webcam, what?
If you have a dash cam on your vehicle, so in a Tesla, you've got hundreds of them around your vehicle, haven't you? Are you allowed to record other people from your car?
Yes.
Because T-Duck's heard conflicting answers. I mean, if they're running anyway, that you're not breaking the law, presumably.
Yeah. If they came with a vehicle,
yep,
they are allowed.
If you stick one on your dashboard, not so much.
See the Tesla guys talking.
Okay. Yes, they're all nodding with a
It
smile.
comes with cameras, so it's allowed.
Right. Okay. Should you be a Tesla owner to get citizenship? I'm going to ask this question now and then come back to Nuno for a final party piece, I think. Peter, what do you think should be added to becoming a citizen here in Portugal?
I think, yeah, for sure, not to add it, but the most important is to speak Portuguese. It's way more interesting if you become before you become a resident, to get a basic understanding from Portuguese, from the culture, from anything, right? So I think it's not about things to add, but it's really to be really a bit basic in Portuguese, in the understanding of the language, a bit of history, a bit of culture. Well, I think that's also the reason why people want to move to Portugal, right? So they want to know a bit more about what this lovely country has to offer. So I think it's not about a lot of bureaucratic things. But just a bit of overall, general offer of what this lovely country has to do.
Bit of passion for Portugal. Absolutely love that answer. Thanks, Peter. Thanks for being here. Love to at least this evening. Thank you for being on the Dream Team panel. Carolina, what would you add? I think you should have to sing Happy Birthday. You should know the lyrics to Parabéns a você. And Carolina, what do you think?
I think the language is pretty hard, so don't be hard on yourselves, because it's really hard. I believe a cultural thing that you should know. It's good that you know a little bit about our music, like fado or a more popular style.
Yes, start with Casa Portuguesa by the great Amália.
Yes, because like we have Santos Populares in June, so if you already know some songs, you can dance to them.
Fantastic. Thanks for being here tonight, Carolina. Let's go to Daniel.
Well, I was thinking what would be a cool criteria to have, and this is, well, learn how to cook cod 1,000 ways, as we say it. You're only Portuguese once you learn 1,000 ways how to cook cod. I know one or two, so jump right into it.
And there will be a course on this. There'll be an Expats cod.
Gilda can sell a course on how to cook 1,000 ways in bacalhau.
She does everything. She says. Thanks, Daniel, for being here tonight. Much appreciated. We'll go to Nuno last, because I think he's got an unexpected item in the bagging area, as it were. But Gilda, did you have anything to add to your list of criteria for becoming Portuguese?
Yes. Eating 10 pastéis de nata in a row.
Really? In record time?
Yes.
That's easy. Okay, very happy to do that. Thank you. I think my credentials are assured in that department. And Carolina.
Sorry, Gilda, remind me of another. Know the difference between pastel de nata and pastel de Belém. There are two separate things.
Oh, okay.
Very good.
Yes.
Self-made better, but two different things. It's a cultural thing. You have to know the difference.
Okay, thank you. Very good. Go research that after the Dream Team session. Thank you, Caroline. Thank you, Judah. Finally, Nunu, what did you have to share with us this evening?
Actually, it's something that I can add to what you need to know about culture in Portugal. So, can you allow me to share my screen?
Yes, definitely. I'll make
Okay,
you a
so
co-host.
you remember the huge and destructive fires of last week in Portugal?
Sure. Yes.
That left some people without roof. So they lost everything that they have.
Yes.
But a love story happened, and it's about a woman with 82 years old that she lost everything. The only thing that she could save was 4 plates. So, and I'm going to pass a video, and you see that when she talk about 2 specific plates that she saved, she starts smiling.
Oh,
okay. Daniel is already smiling, so he knows what's coming. Okay.
fabulous. Thank you for sharing this with us. Should we find out from Astrid what's happening next week, and we'll go out with this, Nunu?
Sorry? Could you repeat?
Let's finish with this video. Let's briefly find out from Astrid what's happening next week, and then we'll come to you for your video of well, this surprise video for us tonight. Diana says, for fun, we should be able to quote from us Luciadas to show our love of Portugal and its culture. You lead on that, Diana, and thank you for your comments there. Astrid, over to you.
Thanks, Carl. Thanks, everybody. Next week, next Thursday at 7:30, we have Philomena coming on board and doing a language and culture session about going to the doctors and also the pharmacy. So there'll be a Portuguese session or Portuguese lesson amongst those as well. So always a lot of fun. So her sessions have become very, very popular. So come along for that. And then, of course, the Dream Team, same time next week as this one now.
Wonderful. Thanks, Astrid. So, and finally, over to you, Nuno, to close our session this evening. Thanks, Dream Team. You've been amazing. Thanks, everybody, for your questions over here on Zoom and on YouTube. Over to you, Nuno.
So I have 2 videos. Remember that short videos, very short videos. So remember that this is a love story, and it's about culture that you need to know about Portugal. Okay. Okay, here I am.
I know the pressure when it comes to sharing a video on Zoom.
I'm sharing. Okay.
Oh, excellent. Got it.
Parcialmente. No meio das cinzas, cada resgata o que pode. O ânimo encontra-se, mesmo na tragédia.
Foram coisas que aproveitaram, se aproveitou, ao contrário, olha.
Salvou o seu Sporting.
Ai, meu Sporting. Ainda está ali, está ali.
So, the club has invited her for the first time to go to the stadium, and they start raising money to rebuild her house.
Oh, wonderful.
So, yeah, so this is something that you can find in Portugal, that is a supportive system. So I'm laughing with this story, okay? Yes. But it has also a good story behind. So luckily, we expect that she will get a brand new house after raising the money that she needs.
A lovely story. Fantastic. Fantastic. So she saved her Sporting plates and
exactly.
Absolutely wonderful. Have you got another one?
Yeah, and this is in the stadium. So she was invited with the coach, the Sporting coach.
Oh my word.
Last Sunday.
I'm not crying, you are.
No, look how happy. How happy she is.
Yes,
she was.
Amazing. That is so lovely. So obviously, Nunu, the right thing to do as part of citizenship is to be a Sporting fan.
Yeah. An important point.
It's as simple as that. That is beautiful. Thank you so much. And what a lovely note to end on this evening. Beautiful, beautiful. That is so Portuguese as well. Thank you.